Change. The word alone can be challenging. How do we get started? Where will the change lead? Don't sit there and worry about it. Be the change. Welcome to Be the Change Radio. Host Christina Bloom has been a professional psychic and spiritual advisor for 20 years, offering psychic and mediumship readings for individuals and groups. She also teaches several classes in psychic development and metaphysics. In addition, she is an author who has published 2 books so far and is the co-owner of Moonbow Publications and Productions, LLC. Are you ready for that change now? Here is your host of Be the Change Radio, Christina Bloom.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Be the Change Radio. You're listening to us on WLTK, Let's Talk Radio. I'm your host, Christina Bloom, and we're going to have some fun tonight. We're switching over from Medical May into a month of paranormal shows. So this will be a lot of fun. We'll be meeting some paranormal investigators. We'll be talking about what it's like to do a paranormal investigation. Tonight's topic is really about the investigations and how that helps link us to history. Because I'm sure a lot of people who are not in this realm don't realize that paranormal investigators are history buffs or actual historians. So as we're working with the paranormal, we're getting more details on the past, obviously, if we're speaking with spirits, but also getting more details on what it's like to have lived through some of the things that we learn about in history class. So when I bring my guest out, Michael Chiana, when we bring him out in a minute, then we will be talking about his latest investigation and what he's learned about that. So, oh, wow. You guys are like filling up my room here. Dang. Let's see. We got Courtney and Lee and Robin and Keith. Hey, everybody. Hello, Facebook user from Ron and I. I should know who this is, and my mind just went blank. Sorry. So welcome all, everybody. Jittery June, I love it. Oh, I should have thought of that. Hi, Tristan, welcome. I'm just going to go over some of the stuff I've got coming up here. So tonight, like I said, we have Michael Chiana, and we'll be talking about that. This weekend, the Marinette Menominee Bigfoot and Paranormal Conference. Lots of fun stuff coming up there. So that will be at the Best Western Riverfront in Marinette, Wisconsin. Hi, Bill. Thanks for being here. Let's see. The 17th of June, I will be at the Chicago Paracon in Countryside at the Countryside Banquet and Conference Center. Look for me there. I'll be doing readings all day. And July 1st, we have the fundraiser at Broadhead Manor to help Broadhead Manor get a new roof and get some repairs done there to save that beautiful building. On the 13th of July, oops, I'm sorry, I missed one. July 8th, Pop-Up Paracon, Woodstock, Illinois. I'll be there. Let's see, the 13th, I will be a guest on Haunted Voices with Todd and Nicole. That's right here on WLTK. On the 15th of July, I will be at the Soul and Synergy Fair in Eau Claire. And on the 29th of July, I will be at the Soul and Synergy Fair in Rothschild. So we got lots of fun stuff coming up there. And without further ado, we're going to talk about history. We're going to talk about paranormal investigating. We're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff. So let's bring Michael out and have a conversation. Hey, Michael, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on, Christina.
You are welcome. And you were here.
I know we had a few little bumps in the road with some of the shows getting moved around, but we finally made it.
Hey, you're here. That's what matters.
That's right. Thank you for having me.
Tristan, let's get that roof fixed. Let's see. Facebook users, when you go into this, there should be a link right above the posting that says to click here or something like that to be able to put your name in. Facebook can't let you automatically do that because they lost some lawsuit or something. So that's how you do that. I'm sorry to cut you off there. Hi, Michael.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
I always get messed up with that too when I try and watch a show and I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I
Because I
know.
never will. I'll just be a guest, that's all.
It's all good. It says StreamYard. It's a StreamYard link that you have to click to put your name in.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I'll let them figure it out because we have a bunch of smart people. This is a very active chat room. So if you're watching it, it's going to go really fast.
Awesome.
And
hello, everybody.
I will go back and check for messages as we're going. But you were going to tell me about the investigation you did this weekend.
Yeah, about 3-4 weeks ago.
Oh, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Okay.
Yes, up in Virginia, went to the Nickerson-Sneed house, which is a very interesting house. It's part of the Civil War and also part of the American Revolution. It's been there that long. And
wow.
So a lot of groups have gone there over the years, and a good friend of mine had booked it and asked me if we could come and investigate, and we did. And the minute that we all got into the house, it's a huge mansion, we all felt something in our chest. We felt like a heavy energy. I've never felt that in all the locations I've been over the years. Okay. So that was really interesting. When we did an overnight, we investigated, and what was nice, it was 4 of us, so we kind of all separated. The house was so big, and we kind of worked solo. And I captured about 15 voices and some photos and some interesting things. And so, yeah, very interesting. We definitely would love to go back sometime. But,
that does sound interesting.
Nickerson-Sneed house in Gladesville, Glades Lake, Virginia.
Glades Lake, Virginia. Okay. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Bill. Why am I getting feedback here? Oh, well.
Is it from me?
No, I thought it was from me. Maybe I just leaned in too far. I don't know. Technology. We're not friends today. All right.
I hate it.
Yeah. So when you're doing investigations, I mean, I'm a paranormal investigator too. So,
okay, great.
I've done investigations on and off for years, and for me, it's because I'm a psychic medium. I get so much information from the spirits themselves. Do you find that too?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not. Doing this for so many years, I've become very sensitive to things, and but I still like to rely on the equipment, and I like audio, I like video, I like cameras. I don't use gimmicky things. I don't use the apps and things like that.
Okay.
It's just, I figure if I'm giving the spirit the opportunity, if they want to communicate, I want the best type of evidence I can possibly capture. If you have too many toys going and different things, you're going to distract them. And spirits, they're not going to sit there all night with you and answer every whim question that you have and this and that. So you really have to really know what you like. There's so many different things that people use out there. I've learned over the last, I started this in 92, and I don't waste my time on meters and apps and things like that. And people with flashlights telling the spirit to turn the flashlight on. That's just, I figure I have the opportunity. I've traveled there, and I want to get the best evidence I can possibly get. Okay.
And so I don't know why Bill's apologizing, but thank you.
You don't have to be sorry, Bill.
I like what Lee had to say. They're busy. They got stuff to do. They don't necessarily want to hang around and just answer stupid questions.
And we're the intruders.
Right.
We're coming into their homes, and so I'm a plumbing contractor by trade. I work in historical homes. So for the last 40 years, I go into people's homes every day, and I have to make them feel comfortable. So I use that same business sense in the paranormal, as far as making the spirits feel comfortable. It really works well for me.
That's cool. That's cool. I know that a lot of times we get information, from the equipment. And I know Todd's big thing. He's really big into the EVPs. Like that's his favorite thing.
Yeah.
I like the video. I like to catch things like video and even still shots, You know, I like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
I like to look at the still shots. So here we go. Going to bring up something controversial. Let's talk about orbs.
Well, you know, orbs are very interesting, but you have to really, you know, I tell everybody, you know, that's getting into the paranormal or novice or green or even somebody that's experienced, learn your equipment. You know, people go out and they spend all this kind of money on all cameras and recorders, and they never spend the time to learn how to actually use it.
That's a
And
really good
to
point.
see all the malfunctions. And,
Mhm.
you know, and so many people use their phones nowadays. And every time you use a phone, you see a lens flare. It's either blue or green. Sometimes it's red. And that's from the plastic lens of these cameras. So people don't realize that. And they think it's, you know, paranormal and this and that. I have come across some, what I call energies more than orbs. If something has its own, if you're in the dark and you're not using a flash and there's something in front of you that's lighting itself up, well, that's a spirit. That's energy. I have one that actually looks like a cross, like this, is going in two different directions in the dark, and it was a fire orange color. And to me, that's not an orb. That's not an orb. That's not dust or dirt reflection. So, you know, if you spend enough years doing this and going out there and figuring out what is and what isn't, that helps. And then the best thing is to share it with other people. Problem is, a lot of people don't want to listen. People that are new to this, they're swearing that it's this and that, but you can't fight those battles with people. You know,
Right.
they can believe whatever they like. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with
Right.
that. But if you want to really be serious, learn from everybody else and share with everybody else. You know?
Yeah, I agree. And one of the first things I was taught was debunk yourself. Go out of your way to debunk yourself. And if
Oh,
you
yeah.
still can't do it, then
Yeah.
maybe you've got something. Hello, Christine. Jamie
Yeah.
Lynn, hi.
And share it with everybody. I share my stuff when I capture things. I have a lot of, and I don't have a lot of team members anymore. I've done away with that, but I work with a lot of the groups. And when I get something, I'll share it with 10 other people, and I won't say what it is, and I'll say, hey, what do you think? And we'll all talk about it. And that's a great way to try and debunk something too, you know.
Right.
To share it with other seasoned people, you know.
Yeah. Robin says they're not always bugs. Jamie Lynn says, you mean dust and bugs? And then laughing. And Keith says, I love seeing orbs. Now, I have to say, I have seen orbs that I would say are orbs. And sometimes I've seen them without any equipment, just with my eyes.
Right.
You know, and I'm pretty sure that if I'm just seeing it with my eyes, it's not a lens flare, obviously.
Oh, definitely.
So,
but there are a lot of different kinds of bugs out there too, and
there are.
You know, that's why if you do it long enough and you take enough photos over the years, 30, 40 years, you're going to have a good base of what this is versus, you know, what it isn't.
Exactly.
Yeah. I always say, you know, most evidence, 99% of it is not paranormal. And it's that 1%. That's the 1% I'm always chasing. And that is what's real. You know, that's what's really out there. But you have to learn what that is and get to that point, you know.
Yeah. No. Tristan says you have to be skeptical minded. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I've run into people who run the gambit paranormal research wise or paranormal investigation wise from I don't believe anything, even if it touches me, all the way over to believing absolutely everything, even without evidence.
Yeah.
You know, so
and most I've learned to get away from those people and not even bother with them because either way, you're not going to win with them. And I don't try and convince anybody of anything anymore. I did that years ago.
I'm with you too.
If you're not a believer, I don't want to. There's nothing I don't want to talk to you. I have nothing to say to you. Because you know you're just being negative. It's good to be skeptical. I mean, it's very even as an investigator, you have to be skeptical of your own.
I agree.
But there are some people that are just downright mean about. And I always say to people that say, "Oh, ghosts don't exist," I said, "All right, well, tell me what the word ghost means then."
Yeah.
You know, they never can answer it. So.
Well, why don't you answer it?
Oh, what do I think a ghost is?
Yeah, what do you think a ghost is?
Oh, well, it's us. We're all ghosts. We're living ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
We're living in our meat suits. These are our meat suits, and our soul is in there. I think it's somehow connected with our brain, and I do believe that when your body gives out, we do continue on. It's not far away. It's not up in the clouds. It's right here. It's 12 inches over from me. I do believe, and like I said, I've captured so many things over the years that I'm totally convinced. I have photos, video. I have thousands and thousands of EVPs, 4 computers filled with EVPs from all around the world. They've gone to other countries, and so yeah,
Cool.
I'm definitely convinced. I've had spirits touch me. I've seen apparitions. So it's out there.
Lee.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that out loud, Lee. All right, we're going to pop up Keith's question here. Have you ever took someone or some kind of energy home with you?
Oh, absolutely. Very rare. We were doing a beautiful mansion about an hour north of Raleigh, and I came home, and it was late. The next morning, I woke up, and in my bedroom doorway was a 3-foot black shadow figure standing right there, and I knew right away that I had brought something home. And I always tell it right out when I've had that experience. You have to leave. I didn't give you permission to come here. I said, you need to go back. And it eventually did, but it stayed in the house for, a few hours.
Okay.
And my wife does not like the paranormal. And she works third shift at a hospital. So if she came home and saw that, oh, I'd be in trouble.
Wow.
So I knew I had to get rid of it before she came home.
Hospitals being one of the most haunted places.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. How does she do that and not see it? I mean,
well, and she has had some really interesting experiences at hospitals and nursing homes where she's worked. She helps a lot of people transition, older people that pass away, on a daily basis. And she was sitting with a 95-year-old lady who didn't have any family. And she was just sitting there with her, waiting for her to pass. And as she did, the entire room lit up. Bright, where she couldn't see in front of her. It was so bright. And then it was gone. And as soon as she came home, she told me, and I was like, well, I believe that. But that really made her a believer,
yeah,
and she's
and
seen
we'd
other
almost
things.
have to. I mean,
Yeah, and
my
she's seen black
gosh.
shadows zooming down the hallways and things like that. So, yeah,
Okay.
it freaks her out. So it's
Mhm.
not something like us. We love it. She doesn't love it. She hates it. So she could sit with a person and watch them pass away, and that doesn't bother her. And to me, that bothers me.
Right.
you
Right.
know, and I don't like funerals, and I don't like caskets and things like that. And
I
I have
don't
worked in
either.
embalming rooms and things like that, doing plumbing. And I would always tell the embalmer, I said, please, I said, I can't work in here. If there's a body, I can't work in here. I'm sorry, I'm not working in here. So it's so funny, here I chase ghosts and,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you though. I'm not a fan of funerals. I mean, and I'm an ordained minister. I do funerals,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I especially don't like caskets. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is with me, but I don't like those. Key says, thank you for sharing, and hello to whoever that is that just popped up and said hi.
Hello.
Hello, hello. We have a lot of really fun people in here tonight. I'm so glad that they're all in here.
Oh, great.
I was just going to ask you, oh, Courtney doesn't either. Oh, Tammy Jean. Hi, Tammy Jean. I was going to ask you another question about this is what I was thinking earlier. And I wasn't quite sure how to phrase this, but I'm going to spit it out and we'll figure it out. Okay. So, how do you feel about the changes that have taken place in the paranormal investigation field over the last 20 years? Did we lose you, Michael? Oh, it looks like we lost him. He'll be back. All right. So I'm actually going to answer the question because he had to sign out and he'll come back in. But when I first started doing paranormal investigating, it was really about reaching out and helping people. It was about helping people understand what was happening in their homes or their businesses. Hi, Kelly, and hello to the other person who signed in, said hi, everyone. And now it's like, oh, who can go to the most haunted location? Who can get a show out there? And I'm not against doing the shows. I think that the shows in some ways have really helped the paranormal field. It's made people more aware that there are people investigating this, that people are looking for answers, in many cases looking for answers. And I know I've gone into people's homes and helped them meet the spirits in their homes and help them to understand why that spirit is there. And then the homeowner or resident, whatever, can talk to the spirit and decide, what are we going to do here? Are you going to move on and do something else, or are you going to stay living here? And then how are we going to work that out? So, hi, Nance. Yeah, I remember you being a guest on my show. Thank you for being here, Nancy. So as I've been watching the changes in the paranormal investigating field, it's more like, oh, what's your favorite haunted location? And I don't know, where I live, I guess, is my favorite haunted location. All right, we got Michael back coming up here. Hey,
Well, that
Michael,
was
welcome.
weird. It just everything went black.
Everything went black.
Yeah, that's the first. But then again, technology.
I know technology and the paranormal.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
I was just asking a
Well,
question about,
yeah,
and I gave my answer, and you didn't hear it. So I want to hear your
I'm sorry.
answer. What do you think about the changes that have taken in the field lately? I mean, in the last 20 years, how much it's changed? Because I know you and I both been doing this a long time.
Well, it's funny when I first moved to North Carolina in 1992. I noticed that we had all these wonderful historical places, forts, museums, mansions that you could go for free. There was no fees. There was no didn't cost anything. And I started traveling to a lot of these places and having experiences. And then doing that for so many years, when computers finally started taking off, I think in 94, 96, I started seeing little group chats and things like that. And I started, talking to people. And then I went out and met people in my area with little meetup groups. And
Right.
I wish I never met those people, because the drama that I met and the backstabbing and the craziness that I met with all these people thinking that they were going to become the next Taps and be on these TV shows. And I could not believe the drama that was going on. That was 2005, 2006. And
So
I
this
didn't
was a
like
while
it.
ago, yeah.
And then it took a break for a while, and now it's back again, that I see the same people. And now it's worse, because everybody and their brother can have a TV show or radio show or whatever. And there's great people and there's horrible people in the paranormal. So people that are beginning and getting into this, you have to know that, like any other field, any other business,
Yeah.
there's great people and there are devious people. And so I've learned the hard way, because I'm sure you're like me. You're a very kind person and you give a lot of people opportunities. And that's what I did for years. And wow, did I get my back got so stabbed with so many knives. For just being nice and treating people good and taking them places. And because they were backs, because they wanted to climb over my back to get to some fame that doesn't exist.
Right.
So I'm sure you know all about that and you've experienced that over the years. I love
Yeah.
the down to earth, natural people that love this field and love to share. You're that way. Todd is that way. Nicole, Paranormal Pete, just great people that really I enjoy watching their shows and being guests. You just have to find your niche.
Right.
Hey, maybe all the evil people have to hang out with the evil people, and the nice people have to hang out with nice. But you can't cross that. You can't cross that line. You have to.
It's been interesting to me. The pay to play thing is just really, I think, what bothers me the most, because when I started doing this, it was volunteer to help people.
Right. Yeah.
That's and that's still what I do.
And me
I
too.
volunteer to help people.
I don't charge for any investigations or travel or anything like that. I always have done it for free. As where I don't even know if I don't keep up with a lot of these newer teams and they charge things. I don't think it's right. You know, like the other field, which has really nothing to do with the paranormal, is the psychic field, because it really is an entity in itself. And there's so many great people that do it and they don't charge for it. And then there's other people that I've met, that I've come across, that are charlatans. They're snakes, and they're not helping anybody, and they're not being honest, and they're just making $200 an hour on the phone, giving people false hope. So, and I know a lot of these people personally. So that definitely deters me from working with a lot of psychics and mediums. I do work with a few that are very gifted, but they will not even tell you that that's what they do.
Yeah.
They don't
Well,
charge any
I'm
money.
kind of a, I'm a psychic. I charge for it. It's how I make a living.
That's okay. There's nothing
But
wrong as long as you're
not
upfront with it,
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's really interesting though for someone who is honest and has integrity to work in my
Yeah.
field. It's kind of
Yeah.
like finding an honest car salesman. You know what I'm saying? And it's,
Oh, yeah.
or mechanic or whatever, right?
I think you
So
just have to take somebody on a one-to-one basis, you
I
know,
think so
and
too. I
see
think
what they're
so
about.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you can watch somebody on a Facebook page and you can tell a lot about them just by what they post and how they act.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I said, but I've worked with several people that are really gifted, and like I said, I don't use them a lot on investigations, but when I do, the way I do it is I'll already have investigated the location, captured really good things, and did research, and then I bring them in without them
Okay.
knowing anything, and I want to see if they connect to what I've already captured. To me,
Yeah.
that makes it really interesting, and I've had
Yeah.
that happen several times. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
that's the
agree.
best way to do it. Yeah.
When I was working with Whisper out west with the Washington State Paranormal and Research Group, um, they would actually blindfold us and
Oh,
drive
yeah.
us to the location. So when we got
Yeah.
there, we didn't even know where we were. And
Yeah.
I loved that. I
Yeah.
loved doing it that way because to
Yeah.
me, that just made it more legitimate for me
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
for the
I think
group.
it's a little overkill. I mean, if you really don't give anybody information,
Yeah.
they won't know. But you know, I
Well,
think
some
it's
of the
cool.
places, though, were places that you would recognize if you drove
Oh,
up to
okay.
it.
Sure,
So
sure.
they would walk us in the door and then we took off our blindfold. So we didn't see
Oh,
the outside of the location. So we didn't
that's
know
cool. Yeah,
like
that's
which building
yeah.
we were in. So
I
Tristan
like when
just,
people do
yeah,
things like that. That makes it intriguing and
me too.
it,
And
it,
with the group that I'm with now, I tell them I don't want to know anything
no,
up
no,
front.
no.
I don't want to know
You don't want
anything
to.
up front.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. Yeah.
all right.
But
So,
I love bringing people in after the fact, after I've spent time researching it, maybe 2 or 3 years before I bring them in. And I won't give them an address or anything. And like a lot of it's residential stuff. And it's,
yeah.
people that were good clients of mine in my day job have passed away. And so I know so much about them because I've worked for them for years. And
Hmm.
I did have one of my good friends, a psychic medium. She walked in, and within a minute, she started describing my customer, and she said she had curly-ish hair. It was gray and brown. And she said she has really odd glasses. They're not round. They're not square. They're like, multiple sides. And I said, well, draw it. I'd make her write down everything. And so she drew the glasses. And even when she nails things, I don't tell her anything. Oh, okay. I don't ever say anything to her. And then once we're done and I finish my research, then so I pulled up my Facebook page for my friend who passed away, and there she was with her glasses, and she had drawn the glasses identical. They were like multiple sides,
That's cool.
So it was like there's no way you could have ever known that. And that to me is amazing. That's it's nice to bring it into the investigation as a part. It doesn't make the entire bit. And then so many people that go to these and they snowball and they showboat and they take over an investigation, and I've experienced that a lot. And
Yeah,
I
I
don't like
find that
that.
really irritating because we're
Yeah,
not here for
those
that
people I won't
reason.
work with. I refuse to
Yeah,
work with them because they're not genuine, and
right.
it's about them. And it should never be about them. It should be about the spirits. And even
Yeah,
all these TV shows and all these groups, they try and make themselves like these big stars and this. It's nothing to do with us. We're just the investigators. We're the workers. We should go out and get the evidence. The only people that should be the stars are the ghosts.
right.
And that's
I
how I
agree.
treat it, how I've always treated it. And even my TV show, you won't see me a lot in the show. It's the evidence and the things.
Yeah, I know. I watched it.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Let's see. Tristan said, I've been in the field for about 15 years, I believe. The shows, for the most part, are so bad just because how they act during the investigation. You're asking for that evidence. Don't scream around and be scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of theatrics. That's
Yeah.
one of the things that, and I've watched a few shows, yours being one of them, where there's no theatrics. I almost couldn't say the word twice. And Tristan's a serious investigator, and I appreciate that too. I'm a serious investigator, but I also believe that the paranormal has been really made to seem ooky and spooky and frightening, and seriously, it's usually pretty funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wish that 99.9% of these shows would disappear because they are scamming. They're not real, and it's. I don't think that the paranormal should be entertainment. People say, "Oh, it's for entertainment." It shouldn't be for entertainment.
Oh, I agree.
It's like cancer research. Are you making a TV show about that? And to me, that's more interesting to find cures for cancer. But I don't think that the paranormal should, and I love documentaries. That's kind of what my show is documentary form.
Right.
And the main reason why I made my show is I have so much evidence over the years, and I have nowhere to share it. I won't put it on Facebook. I won't put it on YouTube. So, like I said, I decided to sit down and produce my own show and put this thing together to share the evidence. That's really what I'm trying to do, the location and things like that. So,
okay, what is the name of your show? Because someone is going to ask that eventually.
Oh, it's called The Heritage Hunter's Journey Through the Past.
Okay, and that's on Amazon Prime, right?
Amazon Prime TV, Prime Video TV, and you can watch it. It's been up for about a year or two, the first episode. I'm working on the second one. It takes me a lot of time because I do a lot of investigations. I do a lot of traveling. I have a family. I have a full-time business, so it takes me time. I don't like to rush it. I like to really. This next one is a really interesting, true story of a North Carolina murder mystery here in North Carolina in the 1860s. And we actually investigated. We started the research in 2013.
Wow.
Investigated this old jail, and we actually the one girl that got murdered. Her name is Laura Foster, and Tom Dooley is a very prominent folklore character. People don't realize that it was a real story, and he was in love with one of the cousins, and the cousin got married, so he started fooling around with the other cousin. Next thing you know, she winds up dead. They find her a few days later up in the hills, and so they assume that he did it. So it's a very interesting story. There's a lot of facts to it, and we've captured a lot of evidence. We actually asked who killed Laura Foster, and we have an answer from a man telling us who killed her. So that's interesting. That's a great EVP.
So there's your teaser, folks. As soon as that's out, you need to go watch that and find out who done it.
and with Journey Through the Past, any shows I do are locations that you can go visit yourself. Some are restaurants, some are hotels, and this is an old jail that they do tours up in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. And so it's I want to make sure that you can go to these locations yourself and go bring your recorders and try your own luck at it. They're open to it. There's so many places that aren't open to the paranormal historically. Like my dream when I started the Heritage Hunters was to be able to go to Mount Vernon. We'll go to Monticello and to investigate there. And of course, they don't let anybody in those locations, even the White House. I mean, that would be an amazing place to investigate.
Yeah.
But you'll never get in there. So,
nope.
But I have gone to Monticello recently, and I actually did capture some really interesting recordings out in the garden when nobody was out there, but just me and my wife. And,
is that information that you can share?
Oh, sure. I mean,
then we're going to take a break. And I'm going to have you share that information when we come back.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Have fun for a great cause at the Broadhead Manor fundraiser July 1st, 2023. Help save the roof and restore this iconic building to its natural state. There will be a silent auction, raffles with your chance to win some amazing prizes, like psychic readings, and books by authors Chad Lewis, Todd Bates, and Christina Bloom. Attire from Expedition Entity and We Are Paranormal and more. Join the fun July 1st at Broadhead Manor from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Bring the whole family. There's face painting and games for the kids, and vendors, psychics, food, and more for the adults. Broadhead Manor, where numerous spirits call home, located in Broadhead, Wisconsin. For more information, find them on Facebook. Hey everybody, welcome back to Be the Change. I'm here with Michael Chiana, and you're listening to us on WLTK, Let's Talk Radio. And before I have Michael answer that question that I asked him right before the break about evidence, let's see, there were a couple more people who jumped in. I want to say hi to. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Wendy. And then Keith had a question that I wanted to answer because it's been sitting up here for a while. When you go on an investigation, do you put your energy there first and then go, and do you go there? Sometimes I do. It really depends on the situation. Sometimes I do that, and sometimes I just like to not know anything and just going completely blind. So it's yes, and it really depends on the situation. So I just wanted to answer that for him. And do you said though that you don't like tune into it psychically or?
Well, as I've done this over the years, I have become more and more sensitive to things.
Okay.
I actually, when spirits are around me, I will get a ringing in my ears. It's very rare.
Okay.
And then I'll usually get some good evidence around that time. So I don't know if it's my brain connecting with them or my eardrums. I'm not sure medically, but I definitely have had that experience over the years, the more I do it. And now when I go into a location and I get set up, I get really quiet. And, with traveling and getting there and setting everything up, by the time you sit down, you're exhausted,
Right.
So I actually like to try and just
Right.
relax, get comfortable. I will not work with a lot of people. I don't like to do that.
Okay.
If I have
Small
more than
teams.
just one, myself and one other person usually. I will not work with 3 people or more because people make noises and they're talking and they don't tag things. And then I have to sit there and go through my evidence and figure out who this is. So I just stopped doing it. And I'm like,
Right.
now I'll just either be solo or I'll have one other person that's very quiet like me and just and listen and let the spirit get comfortable with you. Just break into questions and start bombarding them with one thing after another. If you were the spirit, would you like that? No.
No, it would be confusing. And I have thought that too, when people are putting out flashlights and K2s and these other things, and then a bunch of people asking questions all at once, I would be overwhelmed.
Yeah, I would leave the room. I wouldn't even want to talk to them. And I do believe that spirits can size you up from the minute you get there. Within minutes or seconds, they can size you up to see your energy, feel who you are very easily. And so that's why, I do a lot of solo stuff or just with one other person that I know. And I handpick people that I work with over the years. And invite them to different things. I used to run public groups where I would teach the public for free. And that was great that I did that, but it didn't work out for me in the end because it was a lot of drama. And then people, after 3 or 4 months, they were now experts. They knew everything. They knew more than I ever knew. And so I had to deal with that.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been doing this, like I said, since I really started in 1978 was my first experience when I was 14. And, but so it's just people that are not humble in this field don't need to be in this field. They should go do your ghost tours or whatever. but people like me or people like you, seasoned
Yeah.
people, we don't want to be around that. It's just,
Right.
we did it for so many years, being nice to others, and I don't want to do it anymore. I just want
Right.
to. I'm looking out for me and my friends and the spirits.
Gotcha. I just
Yeah.
wanted to jump back over to the chat here. Todd answered Lee's question, so don't need to do that. Keith says, yeah, ringing in the ears. He gets it all the time. I do too.
Yeah.
Gail, Gail's like, do you record your show? Because I can't stay awake for it. And she just popped in and said, hi, I'm awake.
Oh.
Nice.
Hello.
Tristan agrees with you. Small group. It's usually just him and his wife.
Yes, that's the best. Yeah.
And
right. Somebody you have to know. You have to know them, and you have to know their traits and their personalities.
Yeah.
And their intent. People don't realize. Intent and passion are the two biggest things you need to investigate.
Absolutely.
And if you're watching TV shows and you're going somewhere because you saw it on a TV show, maybe you should just stay home and watch the TV shows.
Or go on one of those tours that they're going to charge you a lot for.
It's crazy. And the VIP things. And I understand the celebrity end because I've worked with a lot of those people.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with Joe Chen and Barry Fitzpatrick and the Kling brothers. And they were all really super nice, down-to-earth people. So
yeah, and I know some that are really super nice, down-to-earth people too. I'm not talking about the groups charging. I'm talking about the locations charging groups to come in and investigate.
Oh, I know.
That never used to happen.
No. My biggest thing is I like to go to locations that have never been investigated before.
Me too.
And that's my niche. And I get so many great places. And it's so nice to go there and to find evidence for the owners that they've had experiences over the years. And here we can confirm different things. So that's my thing. And yeah, as far as paying, sometimes it's worth it to, like we did Brushy Mountain Prison several years ago when it first opened to the public. I think we were like the third or fourth group in there. And there wasn't they were renovating at the time, and there was no power on the prison whatsoever, which I loved, because then we knew we weren't getting any kind of interference from any kind of electronics or anything like that.
Right.
And that place charged $1,500 a night. And I was like, wow.
I don't mind paying to cover, the cost of them having the building open and making sure they can, keep their own lights on and the roof over their head or whatever.
Definitely.
I don't have a problem with that, but some of them that charge like ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't really understand why that needs to be that way,
Well, it's paranormal tourism. And I don't like that anyway. I don't like going to all the big places where everybody else goes. I like going to my own places. But and like I said, I've gone to Monticello, which is open to the public, and you can. And when I go to these places, I'm not being I just go and bring my recorder. I'm very respectful, and I just walk around and do my little thing, and I'm not showboating or anything like that. And and it's amazing what I captured there this last time I was there. I've been there twice, and it was interesting. But it's the history too. I love the history of it. So when you can connect with the paranormal in a historical place like there, Thomas Jefferson's home. The first time I went to Thomas Jefferson's home, I was actually in his bedroom. And when I take a tour, I'll be the last person on that tour, and I stay behind. And as everybody's going to the next room, well, I'll just lag for about a minute or two. And I was right by Thomas's bed, and they said, well, that's where he had passed away. And I looked down, and there was his actual boots right next to the bed. And I just said quietly, I said, I had the recorder going. I said, Thomas, are you here? And all of a sudden, right under my feet was this loud bang. It was so loud, I jumped. I jumped probably 6 inches off the floor.
Wow.
And I was like, what the hell was that? And there was nobody around. Immediately after the tour was up, I went right downstairs and I went right below that area. And it was a wine bottling area that was roped off. And so there was nobody in that area down below. And so that was pretty interesting. And that was my first time there. So,
I love the experiences. And
yeah.
I will get to Wendy's question in a second here because she asked the question a while ago. But like I said, I mean, I don't mind paying some to like help people keep their places open. A lot of them are businesses.
Yeah.
But it just seems like since it's become such big business,
Yeah.
that's when a lot of the integrity went out of it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Like I have no desire to go to Waverly Hill. Everybody
me
wants to go
either. That
to
one was just in my head. Like, I have
everybody
no
wants to go to
desire.
Trans-Allegheny. I don't care about these places because they're hammered. You know, per day, per week, people are going through tours. I'm just
Yeah.
not interested in those places. There's so
Yeah.
many better here in North Carolina. I have so many places to go, but I
Right.
travel all over. I love Gettysburg. I love Pennsylvania. You know,
So, you know, that's something that I personally can't do because I will just sit there and watch the whole thing play out like a movie in front of
yeah.
me because
Oh,
that's
I
how
believe it.
mine works. And
Yeah.
I don't want to watch people killing each
It's a
other.
burden. It really is a burden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would never, people always say, well, if you could see ghosts, would you want to? Or, and I'm like, no, I don't want to because I work so hard with my equipment and cameras and
Hmm.
audio and I capture so many good things that
Yeah.
way. I'm glad I don't see them. And I have seen apparitions. I have seen black masses zoom right by me,
Hmm.
but it's very rare. But, I have experienced them. But yeah, I'm a gear guy. So I love the audio, video,
I have to
photography.
say the gear is fun.
Yeah, I love it. And
The
I
gear
use
is fun
high-end
to play
stuff.
with. Yeah.
If you use high-end equipment, you're gonna get some really good stuff. I mean, yeah, you can catch EVPs with a $30 Olympus recorder, and that's how
Hmm.
I started. But as I was getting really great evidence, I was like, I'm gonna upgrade to these $300 and $400 recorders because they're just. I'm a musician, and I used to work in recording studios for demos and things, so I have that background for audio, and I love it, and it's amazing. And as I've always trained people, I always tell people that are starting out, I said, just get a good recorder, use a camera. Don't use you can use your phone, but get a good camera too, and just go
Hmm.
out. And that's all you need. You don't really need a lot of stuff, and just go with your recorder and go by yourself or with one other person, and just and try and practice.
Yeah.
And that's what I started out doing, and I got blown away with what I was getting. So I said I'm upgrading. So I will only use recorders that have dual microphones and a really high-end recorder. So there's
Okay.
one I've been using for years since Olympus, but it's a high-end one, and that's gone around the world with me. I've taken that to France and England and Spain, and I've caught stuff everywhere with it. So
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Wendy has a question, and I'll give you a chance to answer it first. If a building has been demolished or destroyed, can the spirit still be there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Night, Keith.
Yeah. Yes,
He goes to
absolutely.
bed early, so he's checking out.
Oh yeah, I've been to locations where the buildings weren't there anymore, and I've gotten audio. You know,
Hmm.
so can we say that it's an older spirit or a newer spirit? No, we can't say, and not unless they tell us what year they're in. And I ask that question a lot: is what year is it? And
Yeah.
I have gotten some responses from the 1950s, so it's interesting. But and unless you can get really amazing stuff where a ghost is going to sit down and talk to you for 30 minutes. You're not going to be able to get all that information, but you can always go back and keep trying at location.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, there's so many great places to go in parks and people say, oh, well, cemeteries, why would the spirit want to hang out at a cemetery?
That's always
Well,
been my thought too. I mean, I
yeah,
wouldn't want to hang out at a cemetery, but I
well, it
have
depends.
seen some spirits there.
I would say it depends on the cemetery. We
Hmm.
have one here in Raleigh. It's called Oakwood, and it's historical. And it's actually now a lot of these cemeteries are for the living, and so
Hmm.
joggers are there on a daily basis. People with segways do little tours and things like that. So they've made it for the living as well.
Hmm.
And I have caught some really great things at this local historical cemetery over the years. But it's not a place I go hang out a lot. I mean, I'd rather go to a beautiful historical home or a hotel,
Hmm.
things like that. That's my
Yeah.
favorite. Yeah.
You know, people talk about different areas having more energy or less energy, and I think that that's true. But over the entire history of the Earth, there probably isn't one square inch of Earth anywhere that someone hasn't died on.
That's right.
You
That's right.
know,
Oh yeah.
so you can probably find spirits anywhere you go.
Spirits
Tristan has a
everywhere.
question for you. Have you come across any elementals?
Um, I haven't, and I have not come across. Everybody talks about demons and
Uh,
inhumans and things like that. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I have not had any negative experiences. But then again, I don't go in being a wise ass. I don't go in being disrespectful. So, and do I believe in evil things? Yes, I do believe that there are evil things. There's evil people in our realm. So why wouldn't they transcend over to the other side,
Good
the
point.
other realm? But I think 90% of what's out there is mean spirits or spirits that like to mess with people, especially taunt people in their homes and think it's fun,
Mm-hmm.
And I have experienced some cases that years ago where we went in, and there's a young couple, and they were renting the home and they were moving out, and they asked us to come in and just keep whatever was there as they left, and we're like, oh yeah, right. These people are trying to break their lease, and they're using us as a scapegoat,
Yeah.
So they left. They took everything out of the house, and they were gone. And we had the house to ourselves. But there was only a 2-year-old home, but it.
I can still hear you.
Oh, hello.
Hey, there you are.
Oh, I'm back. Wow, I just hit one button. I'm back. All right.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome. So you have not found any elementals, or you haven't run into any elementals. I believe that we find what we look for.
Right. What you look for is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not looking for evil things. I'm not looking for elementals. I like to try and go in, and if homeowners are experiencing things, I want to see what's there. Most of the time it's, they may describe it as a demon or things like that. Something's choking them. And it's just a really mean, evil spirit. Yeah, that's what it is to me. And I have not come across, and like I said, I've gone to Spain. I've been in the catacombs of France, with 6 million skulls down there all around me, and never had any bad experiences. So I just think it's what you put out there is what you get back. So
yeah, pretty much.
I know paranormal teams that's all they want is dark, evil things. And then they go to these places and that's what they get. And I'm like, well, you're riling it up. So
I think part of it too is how you interpret the information.
Yes.
Because we receive all that information, whether it's psychically or via equipment or whatever, but you're going to interpret the information however you put it through your own personal filters.
Right.
And so, some of it is very obviously like, I came out of there with scratches on my back. Okay, well, something scratched me, right? But
right.
That's not a common event. And I think that with a lot of the publicity around paranormal investigations with TV shows and that sort of thing, they almost want to make you believe that that's what's going to happen every time that you go on an investigation. And what normally happens on an investigation, sorry to burst anybody's bubble, is absolutely nothing. Very often, nothing happens.
Right. Physically, nothing happens, but I'll go to places where places are totally quiet all night, and I'll work it hard. I mean, I'll work anywhere from 3 to 6 hours, and I'll just talk and ask questions and then be quiet. And I just did a home for a good friend of mine that is down at the beach, and it's from 1910. It's a historical home, and she always knew that there were spirits there, but she never had any confirmed, evidence. And she asked me to go down. So I took a ride down there one day by myself, 3:00 in the afternoon. I stayed till 6 and I worked it hard. And if you were to see me sitting there talking to the house, I mean, you'd think I was nuts, but that's what I do. And I came away from there with 36 EVPs and one shadow figure kneeling by the dining room table watching me. And I got it on photo. So just amazing. And the house was super quiet. Nothing happened. No books were flying off the shelves and things like that. But that's what real paranormal is. It's very subtle. People don't.
It is. And sometimes things do happen. Sometimes books do fall off shelves. Sometimes things happen. But
we did an investigation.
It's not common, I don't think.
Like the most craziest thing I think I've ever experienced. We were doing an investigation where a woman had bought this historical home, and she was telling us all about all the spirits. And she made us a beautiful spread of cold cuts and sandwiches and salads in the dining room. And my friends went outside have a smoke, and they came back in. As we were walking through the door, he stops suddenly. I smashed into him. I'm like, "What are you doing?" The cordless phone was on the dinette server. It flew off and hit him right in the face, and all of us witnessed it, and we were like, "Wow," you know.
Yeah.
So things like that. It's very rare that it happens, but
They
yeah.
rarely happen, but they can happen.
Oh yeah. When you
Absolutely.
least
Yeah.
expect it, that's when it will happen. So, you
Yep.
know,
Lee wants to know about dinosaurs. Have you ever seen any dinosaur spirits? And actually, do you see animal spirit? I mean, do you ever have evidence of animal spirits?
I have witnessed after the death of my family member who loved dogs, and my younger brother had passed away. He drowned, and we had gone up, went to the funeral, we came home, and we went to the park. It was my son was probably 2 at the time, and we were just at the park, and we were worn out, and we were just sitting there, and out of nowhere, this dog came up to us, and he was soaking wet, and there was no puddles or ponds around. He came right up to us, beeline straight for us, and was just. And my brother always said to me when he was young, he goes, when I die, I'm going to come back as a dog, you know. And there we're sitting here, and this dog is just giving us this goofy look, and just so yeah. Can we say 100%? No, but it was so weird. And I've had friends have other dog experiences. I would love to see a dinosaur. My God, I love dinosaurs, and I love anything from prehistoric. So I think that'd be amazing.
I agree. I think that would be amazing too. And I
Yeah.
know that I used to live on in an old farmhouse, and
Oh,
I didn't have any pets when I lived there, but every night a cat would jump up on the bed and curl around my feet, and it was a
oh
spirit
yeah.
of a cat. Like
Yeah.
every
Oh,
night, you could see it walk. You could see the imprints on the blanket as it walked across the bed.
oh, I believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I always wonder in the paranormal and being in it so many years, why don't we get things that are so much older? Like, yeah, we may get something from the American Revolution or further up, but why don't we get things that are way back as far as spirits? So it's always interesting. But I do believe it might be tied to the locations. Like if you go to the pyramids in Cairo, maybe you will get, you know, and you
Yeah,
investigate, and you
maybe.
can get in there and do audio. Maybe you will get something from those times, you know. But it's how often do we have those opportunities? So
Right, right.
you know,
Maybe we
anytime I
should ask
travel,
someone who lives there.
yeah, anytime I travel out of the country, I always bring my equipment with me. And the oldest place I think I've been was Mount Montserrat, which is in Spain, and it's the top of this mountain. It's a beautiful monastery, and it's from the 1300s. And I did some work up there, but yeah, it's just amazing. Yeah,
Huh,
I think if you go to these older
interesting.
places, you know, like I would love to go to Stonehenge and do some
Yeah.
work there and do some audio work there.
I think everybody wants to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
People,
Wendy has a question here. If a dark spirit is present or has attached to someone, can it attach to someone in order to access someone's light?
well, first of all, a black spirit or a dark mass, people get freaked out when they see it because they think it's evil or this and that. But to me, I've seen so many shadows and black masses that are just ghosts. It's just another form of a ghost. That's it's not anything because the color. And there's also white masses that you can see that are pure white that you can't see through. So and they're not evil or you know. So I think Hollywood has done a huge injustice to the paranormal field because they've created so many horror shows over the years and created
Right.
all this evil, and people think, you know, our minds can really set us up for terrible things if we believe it. So I have not had any experiences where something has, you know, taken me over and this and that. I do have attachments, and people have taken photos of me where I have 5 to 7. They almost look like fireflies flying around my head, and they're bright. And I do believe, and many people have told me that I do have several attachments, but I don't believe that they're harmful. I believe that
Hmm.
they could be family members, they could be other spirits that I've never met. I do
Right.
believe they protect me. I do believe that they help me on cases. So I'm not looking to get rid of any of my attachments as far as, but I've never had any bad experiences either. Um,
Yeah. Well, there is
Mental
that.
illness has a lot to do with, you
It
know,
it
the
does. Yeah.
paranormal, and people rule that out. Don't even think about mental illness or, you know, just
Actually,
depression or anything.
I'm recording a podcast with my paranormal group exactly about that.
Yeah.
This week.
But,
so
the people never try to debunk stuff. They see
right.
all these things or think they see these things, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's dark and evil.
Right.
I don't believe a lot of it is. I have dealt with some other cases where something was holding this family member, a girl, young 17-year-old girl, down, choking her.
Mm-hmm.
And I always go in and just stay real neutral. And I was sitting in the room by myself. We always make the families leave. We don't let the families be there when we investigate. And I was sitting in the room where she was, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that there's anything negative here. And when I listened to my recording
Mm-hmm.
the next day or so, I actually got a really mean voice saying hack. And so it was calling me a hack, or
Mm-hmm.
it was talking about hacking like with an axe. And it scared the crap out of me, only because I knew that, wow, this was really messing with this girl. And that's what upset me. It didn't upset me about me, but that this girl was experiencing this and nobody believed her. So, there are, but I do believe it's more mean spirits than anything. So,
okay. Well, I promised Todd that we would try to stop on time tonight, and we are at the end of our hour.
Wow.
I know it went really fast.
Well, that's
Tristan. Yeah, I just want to say here, Tristan said, "I just would never do an Indian burial ground. They are so in tune with the earth. I believe if you mess with those spirits, you're just looking for something to get you." Maybe I watched Poltergeist too many times. It could be, but I agree, and it's disrespectful to mess with something like that anyway, whether it's Native American or in another country with whatever their traditions are. Christina needs a longer show.
We'll just have to do another one. That's all.
We'll just have to do another one. Yeah. So next week, I am actually going to be on vacation next week. So we will either have a rerun or I'm going to have a guest host. So we'll see how that goes. And Michael, I want to thank you so much for being here. I know this is this is our third try. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much again for having me on.
Yeah. And for sharing all the wonderful information that you shared. You're a wealth of knowledge. And
people can contact me. I'm on Facebook, Michael Chiana, Heritage Hunter Society. And you can check out my show on Prime, which is The Heritage Hunters Journey Through the Past. If you'd like to see some real, raw evidence.
I've seen it. It's good. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening, great day.
Thanks, everyone.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.